Hello and welcome back to the Hometown Business Podcast. My name is Autumn Dell. I am your host. I am trying to sit here and make sure that I actually hit record. I do believe I did. Yep, I hit record, so we are good. I'm your host, Autumn Dell, and I am here with Mr. Ray Lane. He is the owner of a really cool spot in Loganville that I'm of course going to let him share all about. But first, today's episode is sponsored by Kepner Boxing Franchise. Keith Kepner was on the show probably about 2 months ago, and he shared about his boxing gym and the franchise model him and his wife Lisa have started, and they are just awesome people. And the boxing gym, I believe there's a location, they own the Athens location, and then there's one in Loganville and a few other franchise locations popping up, either already running or in the works. But if you are interested in maybe purchasing a franchise, if you're a business or you want to be a business owner and you think that is something that you might be good at or have interest in, you can go to KepnerBoxingFranchise.com. There's a bunch of information you can read up on there, or you can just skip all that and schedule a call with Keith. He will reach out to you and you guys can chat and see if it's a good fit. So go to KepnerBoxingFranchise.com if you are interested in that. But today's guest.
And by the way, I believe his Loganville one is right at the end of our road, right up the road from us.
Oh, awesome.
I think there's a new one there. I think that's the one.
Yeah, it's over in the Sonic drive-through area.
That's exactly where we are. Too, so.
Awesome. So you guys are buddies,
close to neighbors. Walking distance.
Oh, awesome. Well, Mr. Ray Lane, tell us about your business.
Yeah, so we own Impossible Escape, and if you don't know what an escape room is almost like a live video game where instead of playing a character on a screen, you are the character. You get put into a room and you got to figure your way out. If you've ever played any of the Big Fish games or any of those where you have to hunt for the objects, it's very similar, kind of comes out of that vein. So you get put into a room, there's going to be puzzles, there's going to be locks, there's going to be all sorts of fun things going on, and you've got to figure out how to solve what's going on or escape. So even though they're called escape rooms, many of them these days you're solving some sort of mystery or finishing something off versus just trying to escape out of a place. So
yeah,
and we actually took over from a place called Escape Plan Georgia, which was here for the last few years, and we took that over last year. Just coming out of COVID, we took over, which is a perfect time to do that. And then more recently, we took over a location in Norcross, and in between, we have one in California as well. So we're hopefully growing rapidly and just trying to really build upon what we've got. And, our goal is to just allow people to have some fun. And especially, like I said, coming out of COVID, people have been trapped in their own houses. They're trying to escape. Well, this is the place to go to escape from that. And, I want to talk a little bit about that because obviously coming out of COVID, people are a little nervous about getting out and going into places. Movie theaters, it's taken a long time for them to really kick back up. In fact, we went to the movies recently and it was still pretty empty.
Pretty dead. That's
and it was pretty sad. And a lot of the services that they provided there, they're not doing because they don't have the staff because there's just not enough people. Fortunately, with an escape room, we have it a little bit different where everything is private. So for instance, if you came in with your family, you would be the only one in there.
Right.
So the only interaction with other people would be when you first walk into the lobby, if there happens to be anybody there at the time. Once you're into the rooms, you're all by yourself. Hopefully your family's very smart. You're not going to get any extra help from people if that's the case. But you're going to go in there and you're going to solve that by yourself and hopefully have a great time. And again, no exposure to anybody else. If anything's going on, you're already exposed.
Right.
And and speaking of that, one of the things that we've done to really help with the whole COVID situation is we've actually expanded our times for our locations. So in other words, instead of having one room at 1 o'clock and then another one at 2:30, where somebody's coming out and somebody's going right in, we've expanded that out specifically for the purposes of going in there with the Lysol and really cleaning everything up after we reset it, clean everything up and make sure that any COVID-related bacteria or other bacteria can be killed off beforehand, and everybody has a nice, clean experience.
Yeah.
So, and it's been good. Surprisingly, I think people it was the right time because I think people were finally ready to get out just as we took over, and and we've really seen a big jump in sales in the last few months, and well, even right from the start, we really jumped sales, which is nice.
That's awesome. I'm so happy that you guys are doing well during COVID, because obviously that's not always the case. So what made you want to step in and purchase this?
Well, it's kind of funny. I've told this story a bunch of times. The reason that we got into this, one, I'm a huge fan of escape rooms. I have been since I first discovered them. I was living in California, and my wife found a Groupon for this thing called an escape room. I'm like, what is that? Well, I thought it was the greatest thing I'd ever done. I couldn't believe how awesome that was, going in there and doing that. It was like being in that movie or being in that video game. And we actually, in California, started to put together our own escape room, myself and another business partner. And we ran into all sorts of issues with the government. They didn't understand what it was. They wanted us to do this and that. And we spent a ton of money. In the end, it never opened.
Oh, man.
Just cost us a bunch of money. Fast forward, we moved out here. And I said, oh, you know what? When we move out here, I said this to my wife. I said, we're going to find a place. We're going to do this. Well, it just so happened the very month that we moved in was the same exact time that the one in Loganville was opening up. Now, Loganville, not a huge area. Probably doesn't need 2 escape rooms to satisfy the population. So I was like, well, you know, maybe we'll find another location. And fast forward a couple years, I got a call I became friends with the guy that owned it. And he called me up and says, you still want to own an escape room? I said, I think I do. And so he said, well, let's do a deal. And we did. And we took it over last July. And quite literally, right from the start, sales just doubled right away.
That's awesome.
It was the perfect timing. People were finally out of the COVID thing, and sales just doubled and have just really skyrocketed throughout the whole year, which is why we were like, okay, well, let's find another location. Now, I will say, unfortunately, not every place jumped like that. So we were a little spoiled by how great Loganville was.
That's
and
funny. Us
Snellville and Monroe coming in and doing these things, but moving into the other ones, it took a little longer to get them going, but our California location we've had for about 6 months now, and that has finally almost caught up to Loganville at this point. So it's doing really well. And the Norcross one, it's only been a couple of weeks, so we'll see how that one goes.
I bet Norcross will do well.
I think so. Honestly, it's the biggest area, so chances are it's got the most potential, I think, for all of that. But the way that I actually got into it, aside from that, is my job, at my full-time job, my day job, so to speak, was I ran a marketing company for local businesses. And so while we were doing marketing for all these other companies, in fact, some right here in Monroe, to me it was like, well, if we buy the companies, then nobody can tell us no on what we want to do. And so that's kind of how the germination of this started was, well, we'll take over this company here, and now all those things that we keep telling everybody they need to do, they don't want to pay for, we're going to do them. And we were able to not only succeed because of that, but we were able to now have some great case studies. So whenever we talk to somebody, they're like, just take a look. This is what we do, and look what's happened here so far. But to be honest with you, so busy doing it for just our locations and a couple of clients that we already had that I haven't really been pushing it with other businesses anymore for the time being. But that'll change as we get things under control more.
But to be able to market your own business, that's huge. I mean, I think that's one of the things that when we start a business, make sure you know how to market, because it can be a great product or a great service, but if you don't know how to tell people about it.
That's exactly it. And it's not always easy. Like I said, we just took over Norcross, and unfortunately with that location, they were running with bare bones, to the point where people had forgotten it existed, or maybe they had bad experiences or what have you. So that one's been a little tougher to jumpstart, to really get things going. We just built a whole new escape room in there that's opening tomorrow, actually. Kind of opened it over the weekend, but officially it opens tomorrow, and we're hoping that will really start to bring people in. But that's started to pick up, which is nice. But when we got in there, that one was on fumes, and they weren't really putting in an effort marketing wise or otherwise. So.
Oh, well, I hope really good things come from that. I would think it's a good area.
I think so. I think it'll
for growth. Well, I wanted to ask, what made you start one in California, but if you said you lived there, is that why?
I did. Well, actually, it was kind of a bit of luck and fortune on that. What happened was I came from California and moved out here, and one of the guys that I knew from out there, I wasn't a business partner with him, we hadn't worked together on anything before. I happened to be talking to him about, he does real estate, and I happened to be talking to him about real estate, and we were talking marketing, and we started to get together and we formed a company specifically for the marketing. And when this came up, I said, hey, well, maybe we should do this. So it was this company that he and I had that actually bought the escape room, and then we started looking at others, and one happened to pop up near him, so he went and looked at that one, and we said, yeah, let's do it, and
awesome.
Jumped on in. And fortunately for us, unfortunately for the economy in general, things were on sale, if you know what I mean. After COVID, a lot of things were on sale. So we were able to pick up these other locations at a very low price, and just really get some good deals on that, which for the previous owners, it was good. They were able to get out of a situation where maybe they were behind because of rent and COVID and all that. And maybe they didn't make a lot of money by selling it, but they were able to financially clear the slate, and we were able to take over and have a clean slate there and just start over. So.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe their heart just wasn't in it like yours.
At that point in time, I think with the COVID thing, a lot of people's hearts weren't in it anymore.
Right.
And a lot of people, when they start these types of businesses, they do it as kind of a hobby, a second. I'll work as a plumber during the day, and then at night I'll run this escape room that I bought. And unfortunately, it doesn't really work well that way. It will for a while, but it's difficult. And in our case here, we were looking to build a brand much more than we were just an individual escape room. And I think that makes a big difference too. So we really treat it as a full-time company. Right. And we're doing a lot of other things too. We're taking, the brand is Impossible Escape, but we're taking that impossible term and trying to bring it out into other things. We're thinking burgers, but I think it's already taken. So.
Well, that's fun. So how do you, this is probably a silly question, but how do you come up with the escape things?
It's funny. It's all based off of my interests most of the time, and we get employee feedback. That's the other thing too. And in our main control room, I've got this gigantic whiteboard, and people will write down idea themes. Like, I want a retro 70s theme, or I want a zombie theme, or whatever it happens to be. And so we take that into consideration and put that into storylines. And the way that I like to do it is I like to write it as if it's a novel, a book, a story. Come up with a story, build the puzzles off of that, design what we want to do based off of that, and then hopefully be able to build it out. And we've got some plans for some big things. We're attempting to license out some big name brands to do some cool things. And if you live here in Georgia and you're watching this, you can probably guess some big entertainment names that are here in Georgia right now, that certain movies and shows and things that we're looking at trying to brand out. I don't know if it'll happen, but
well, put it out there.
Put it out in the universe and see what happens.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for the most part, it's just ideas and writing it out. For instance, here in Loganville, we're actually in the process of doing a new one right now. Very, very base process of it, but it's actually built off of kind of my conglomeration of the Clue board game and the Clue movie and some of the old, 7 people trapped in a mansion movies, the Murder by Deaths and Private Eyes and Dark and Stormy Night and all that. And putting something together that I think will be really fun, where your group is going in and you're that group where, somebody's going to die. Are you going to be able to solve the mystery and escape? And
that's fun. You're totally I like to I own a cleaning business, and with our team we like to do fun stuff. I try to do it monthly, and so I'm like.
And that's actually a big part of the escape room business is corporate retreat type stuff, as well as birthday parties and believe it or not, bachelor parties and wedding parties and all sorts of things. And we even had people come in and we've hid the engagement ring at the end of the game for people.
I actually saw on your website under the frequently asked questions of can I propose?
Yep. No, we love doing that, and we have had that happen. So that's kind of cool. But the corporate stuff is always big. One of the things we're working on now, when I bought this location here in Loganville, we actually had 6 escape rooms in there. California has 4, Norcross has 4. We actually brought Loganville down to 4 now, only because it's more manageable, easier to run, and we now have the open space where we're going to put in a party business room, so that people can come in and they can have corporate meetings in there. They can do an escape room and go there afterwards, do a birthday party, etc.
Oh, fun!
And in Norcross, we've got a huge one, and it's really fantastic. So this one, unfortunately, will be a little bit smaller and a little more closed in, but be the same type of idea. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Well, I'm impressed. I'm always I'm super impressed with anyone's mind who can, I mean, I'm not even good at figuring puzzles out, but to create the puzzle, that's huge. I'm always, when I read a story even, super impressed with how did they think that up? So
I'll tell you, I got to give a lot of credit also to my wife that we just opened the new one that's coming technically tomorrow in Norcross, and I had nothing to do with it. In fact, I wasn't even allowed to see it until the first test run, which was last Sunday. And I mean, I was just blown away with the creativity and very different sort of puzzles in there that aren't just, find a key, unlock a lock, find another key and unlock a lock, find a code. A lot more creativity and okay, what is this and what do I do with it? And so very impressive.
Awesome. So you guys run it together?
We do, yes. Myself and my business partner are the owners of the company, but here in Georgia, my wife is kind of my right-hand person. And, she kind of makes sure that all the day-to-day business things that I don't like to do. All the
probably just like in your life, she's good at the things that you're not good at. That's
you want to get paid on Friday? She's who you talk to.
Well, fun. Well, you mentioned that there was something you wanted to share today.
Yes. So one of my biggest initiatives with this business, and even before that with other businesses, is I really want to foster a lot of local charity, local goodwill, local, personal building of a community. And so that's why in the escape room, by the way, and I should mention this too, is we actually work with local charities to do donations. So for instance, on Tuesday night, we do a family night. So you bring in your whole family and you get discounts. And on a Wednesday, we do, well, we're changing this to Thursday, but for now, Wednesday, we do a canned food drive night. So you bring in canned foods and you get a couple of dollars off your ticket for each one that you bring in. And then on Thursdays, we do just a charity collection for a charity of the month. And so we really want to be able to work with a lot of charities and things like that. But we also want to bring something out to the community in general. And so what we're currently in the process of putting together is something that we call the Impossible Awards. And the idea behind this is you're going to award somebody for going above and beyond. And it doesn't have to be, the orphan who saves puppies and children from a burning house. It could be something as simple as, you know what, this waitress over here at this restaurant is always providing such amazing service, and she can be nominated for this award. And it's not anything over the top. Basically, they get a little certificate that they've been awarded with this, and they get a pass to come to the escape room and whatnot. And everybody that receives an award is actually going to be put into a pool for a drawing, and we're going to do like a $500 drawing for one person out of all those who won the award. And you'll be able to nominate people. We'll be able to, if I'm out and see somebody do great service, I can give one out that way. You can go to the website, you can nominate people for an award and put in why you think they should be nominated, and then they can receive one. And it's just a way for us to give back. And hopefully, just foster this community togetherness, which is often a difficult thing, and that's why we like to work with a lot of local businesses. Why I love this podcast. Same type of thing, and I love the idea of this because we've done similar things of bringing people in for videos and podcasts and thing, and I think it's wonderful. So anytime we can do any type of community type of service, we want to do that. And if you got a charity, if anybody's got a charity out there and you want to have it featured, let me know. We're not going to make you millions of dollars, but maybe we'll make you a few. So
absolutely. I'm a huge advocate for give first. Give value before you ever ask for anything. And I think it always comes back. And I'm a huge. I think that is super cool. So when does that start?
As soon as I can get everything put together. This past week, we put together the whole idea, and I started putting together a website for you so that people can nominate, as well as designing the award certificates. We're going to get those printed out so that we can hand them out. So I would think probably within the next week or two we should have that ready to go, and we'll start to.
Yeah, you'll have to let me know so I can start pushing it out.
Absolutely.
I have an Instagram page linked for the podcast,
and we are linked on Instagram. So
yes. Well, awesome. Is there anything I didn't ask that you wish I had, or you think I should?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, after all this COVID stuff, it's time to get out. I know some people don't want to yet, and I understand that, but we're doing everything that we can to make sure that you can have a good, safe time going out and having some fun.
Yep.
I know, especially like we mentioned movie theaters, it's tough to go and sit in a room with 100 other people sitting close to you. So I get that. This is a way for you to go out, have some fun, without having to be stuck with other people. That sounds awful.
I know, but
Being
I know what you mean.
Near other people at a time when it's a little bit scary. So this will help you to have fun.
I wholeheartedly agree. It's time to get going.
And that goes for all businesses too. Get out there and go to those restaurants.
Absolutely.
They've suffered through this.
We went to a Braves game this summer, and I was like, this feels so weird, but I love it. I was like, I love that we're all so close and nobody seems freaked out. We may have caught COVID, we didn't, but you know what? It was worth it to me because I just wanted the crowds again.
We've been lucky so far.
Yeah. We didn't have any podcast release last week because we had COVID, and I thought it's okay, I'll do some over Zoom. It knocked me on my butt. I was in bed for like 3 days. It just felt like the flu, but it was rough, and so it's hard getting back in it. This week I'm like, oh man, how am I gonna jump back in there and catch up on everything I missed? But we'll get there. Well, thank you so much. Actually, nope, lightning round. Almost forgot about the lightning round. It's not hard. So you live in Loganville, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Where is your favorite place to go to eat?
Oh, you're going to get me in trouble if can I say more than one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I got to give a shout out to two of my favorite places that I've found recently. And there's a lot of them, by the way, because I go out to a lot of places, not only because I want lunch, but because I want to take some pictures and I want to promote them. And on our Escape Room Facebook page, I shout out restaurants and other businesses all the time. But two of my favorites, and many people may not even be aware of them because they're kind of hidden out there. Mimi's Comfort Food, which is down by the BP station behind it, and it's a hidden plaza back there in Loganville on 78 there. So that's one of my favorites, and the other one would be Barbecues. And I know that's been around a little longer, so people, even though it's hidden, a lot of people know that place.
Yeah.
I've been there. I finally discovered that place about 3 weeks ago, and I've been there about 5 times already.
I think they opened during COVID.
They may have. She's a tough lady, so I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm pretty sure they did, because it was maybe even last Christmas we had someone in my family had COVID. I don't even remember who. And so we were quarantined over Christmas, and we had her cater our Christmas dinner. We just
I think she actually told me about that. She was mentioning something, and it might have been that one, but she was doing that.
It was very yummy, and it made being stuck at home with just the 6 of us.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with that, and I guess she's been around. Well, she's been around here for a while, but I guess they used to be in Rome.
Oh, okay.
Because I saw a picture and I'm like, it's the same colors, and I'm like, that's not the same building. And I saw Rome, Georgia, so I must have had it out there for a long while before that. But,
awesome.
Great stuff. Both of those places. Check them out. I know they're kind of hidden gems, so.
Yeah, I'll list them in the show notes and try to tag them on Facebook and stuff. But I like what you said about, taking pictures and tagging other businesses. I've heard, I was listening to a marketing podcast once, and she was, talking about organic ways to grow your social media, and that's one of them, because you connect.
It's worked.
You'll automatically get their followers seeing your stuff. So smart move.
No, and that's worked very well. In fact, I teach some marketing classes, and we've talked about that specifically.
Yeah.
And on one of the classes, I said, well, like, I went here today, and watch, and I put up Facebook, and I put it in there, and I marked, I don't remember if it was barbecues or one of the other ones, and I marked them down and tagged them and everything, and I was talking about, and literally within 2 minutes, the owner had tagged me back and thanked me for doing it, and I'm like, see, look, right there. It
Network marketing. It is major. So you can do like social media marketing, but still be like within your community, which I think is cool. It's like the best of both worlds. So where can people find you online?
You can find us online in hopefully everywhere, but the big one for local here, impossibleescapeloganville.com. If you go to impossibleescape.club, you can link to any of the locations that we currently have. But on Facebook, if you look up Impossible Escape, you'll find one of our locations, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, wherever you want to look, we should be there. So.
Awesome. Well, I will link all of that in the show notes.
Thank you.
So this was fun. Thanks for coming and being on and sharing. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, just remember, local businesses are looking for you to get out there. They're looking for you to have some fun, to have some food, and just really start to get out and do the things that you used to do.
Yep.
So be sure to get out there, support those local businesses, and even the national ones. We want them to survive too.
Yeah.
Just get out there if you can. Get out there.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you guys so much, and I will be back next week. Bye.
Congratulations on spending a few minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Walton County business community. If you're feeling super generous, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are. If you're a business owner in Walton County and would like to be interviewed on our show, go to our Hometown Business Podcast Facebook page. Until next time, keep supporting local.